Nano-UFOs and Giga-UFOs refer to a theory proposing the existence of unidentified flying objects at extreme size scales, ranging from microscopic to unimaginably large. Proponents of this idea suggest that nano-UFOs could be advanced surveillance devices or even microscopic alien life forms capable of infiltrating human bodies or technology undetected. Giga-UFOs are theorized to be massive spacecraft or living entities, potentially large enough to be mistaken for celestial bodies or atmospheric phenomena. Supporters of the nano-UFO concept point to unexplained technological glitches and mysterious health issues as potential evidence of microscopic alien interference. Those who believe in Giga-UFOs often cite large-scale atmospheric disturbances, unusual cloud formations, or even certain planetary features as possible manifestations of these enormous entities. Some theorists argue that the focus on conventional UFO sizes has limited our ability to detect these extreme-scale phenomena, suggesting that our current detection methods may be inadequate. Advocates of this theory sometimes link it to concepts like the simulation hypothesis, proposing that nano and giga UFOs could be manifestations of different scale levels within a simulated reality. Natural park closures refers to a theory suggesting that certain national parks and wilderness areas are periodically closed to the public for reasons beyond official explanations. Proponents of this idea claim that these closures are used to conceal unusual activities, phenomena, or discoveries from the general public. Supporters point to instances of unexpected or prolonged park closures, often accompanied by vague official statements, as evidence of potential cover-ups. Some theorists believe these closures are related to cryptid sightings, such as Bigfoot or other unidentified creatures, allowing authorities to investigate without public interference. Others suggest that the closures might be linked to extraterrestrial activities, citing reports of UFO sightings in or near national parks. Advocates of this theory often highlight the remote nature of many national parks, arguing that they provide ideal locations for covert government operations or scientific experiments. Some believers claim that these closures are used to conceal evidence of ancient civilizations or advanced technologies hidden within the parks. While official explanations typically cite maintenance, wildlife protection, or natural disasters as reasons for closures, proponents of this theory argue that the frequency and duration of some closures warrant further investigation. Nazi UFOs refers to the theory that Nazi Germany developed advanced flying saucer technology during World War II, which was later appropriated by other nations or hidden from public view. Proponents of this idea point to alleged Nazi secret projects like Die Glocke, the Bell, as evidence of their advanced anti-gravity research. Some believers argue that the rapid advancement of aerospace technology after World War II, particularly in the United States and Soviet Union, was a result of acquired Nazi UFO designs. Supporters of this theory often cite the US government's Operation Paperclip, which recruited German scientists after the war as a potential conduit for this technology transfer. Certain UFO sightings from the 1940s and 1950s are attributed by some to these purported Nazi flying machines, suggesting their continued operation after the war. Advocates of this theory sometimes link it to claims of a secret Nazi base in Antarctica, where they believe this technology might have been further developed or hidden. Some proponents argue that the distinctive disc shape of many reported UFOs aligns with designs found in alleged Nazi technical documents and eyewitness accounts from the war era. Nazi zombies refers to the concept of reanimated Nazi soldiers, often depicted in popular culture as undead warriors created through occult rituals or advanced science experiments. This idea stems from historical accounts of Nazi Germany's alleged interest in the supernatural and their documented scientific experiments during World War II. Proponents of this theory point to Nazi research into hypothermia and other extreme conditions as potential precursors to reanimation experiments. Some believers cite the Nazi regime's fascination with ancient artifacts and occult practices as evidence of their pursuit of supernatural means to create unstoppable soldiers. The concept gained traction in popular media, particularly video games and films, which some theorists argue might be based on suppressed historical information. Supporters of this idea sometimes link it to rumors of secret Nazi bases in remote locations, suggesting these could be sites where zombie experiments continued after the war. Some versions of the theory propose that Nazi scientists succeeded in creating a zombie virus, which was then hidden or stolen by other nations for further development. Nazis reincarnating refers to the belief that high-ranking Nazi officials and leaders from World War II are being reborn in the present day, potentially to continue their ideological mission. Proponents of this theory often point to children born with unusual birthmarks or physical features that they claim resemble wounds or characteristics of deceased Nazi figures. Some believers argue that certain individuals in positions of power exhibit personality traits or make decisions reminiscent of Nazi ideology, suggesting a spiritual connection to reincarnated Nazi souls. Supporters of this concept sometimes cite cases of young children with detailed memories of Nazi-era Germany as evidence of reincarnation. The theory often incorporates ideas from Eastern religious concepts of karma and rebirth, suggesting that Nazis are reincarnating to face the consequences of their past actions or to attempt to rectify them. Some versions of this belief propose that groups of reincarnated Nazis are working together, having recognized each other in their new lives to influence current world events. Advocates sometimes link this theory to the persistence of neo-Nazi movements, suggesting that these groups are led or inspired by reincarnated Nazi figures. Neanderthal superiority refers to the theory that Neanderthals possessed cognitive and physical abilities that surpassed those of modern humans. Proponents of this idea argue that Neanderthals had larger brain capacities, potentially indicating higher intelligence or different cognitive strengths. Some researchers point to evidence of Neanderthal art, tool use, and complex social behaviors as indicators of advanced cognitive abilities. Supporters of this theory often cite the Neanderthals' successful adaptation to harsh Ice Age environments as proof of their physical and mental resilience. Some anthropologists suggest that Neanderthals may have had more sophisticated language capabilities than previously thought, based on analysis of their vocal tract anatomy. Proponents argue that the eventual extinction of Neanderthals was not due to inferiority, but rather to factors such as climate change or competition with Homo sapiens. Recent genetic studies showing that many modern humans carry Neanderthal DNA are interpreted by some as evidence of their genetic advantages. While controversial in mainstream anthropology, this theory challenges traditional views on human evolution and the capabilities of our ancient relatives. Negative energy Ticonderoga pencils refers to a fringe belief that certain batches of Ticonderoga pencils are imbued with negative spiritual energy during their manufacturing process. Proponents of this theory claim that using these pencils can lead to writer's block, decreased creativity, or even minor misfortunes in daily life. Some believers point to unexplained feelings of unease or discomfort when handling specific Ticonderoga pencils as evidence of their negative energy. Supporters of this idea often cite the pencil's consistent quality and widespread use in schools and offices as factors that make them ideal conduits for spreading negative energy on a large scale. Certain adherents to this theory suggest that the iconic yellow color of Ticonderoga pencils may be designed to mask or contain the negative energy within. Some proponents claim to have developed methods for detecting affected pencils, such as dowsing or using EMF meters, though these techniques lack scientific validation. Believers sometimes link this concept to broader theories about everyday objects being vessels for spiritual or psychic energies. Negative entropy refers to a theoretical concept in physics and information theory where systems become more organized over time, contrary to the second law of thermodynamics. Proponents of this idea suggest that certain systems or processes might decrease entropy, effectively reversing the natural tendency towards disorder. Some researchers point to biological systems, particularly life itself, as potential examples of negative entropy in action, as living organisms maintain and increase their internal order. Supporters of this concept often cite the work of physicist Erwin Schrödinger, who discussed negentropy in relation to life's ability to maintain order. Certain theories in cosmology propose that the expansion of the universe could be viewed as a form of negative entropy, as it potentially creates more organized structures on larger scales. Some proponents argue that information processing and storage, particularly in quantum computing, might demonstrate aspects of negative entropy. Advocates of this theory sometimes link it to ideas about the nature of consciousness and its potential role in organizing information and energy. While controversial in mainstream physics, the concept of negative entropy continues to inspire discussions about the nature of order, life, and the fundamental laws of the universe. Daniel Nems was a scientist who claimed to have invented a device called energy vision that could photograph entities from other dimensions. Nems had a background in quantum physics and energy research and became fascinated by theories of parallel dimensions and alternate realities. The energy vision device supposedly combined principles from quantum mechanics, electromagnetism, and advanced imaging technology to capture images of beings existing in parallel dimensions. According to Nems, the device worked by emitting controlled bursts of energy and then scanning for anomalies, which he interpreted as interactions with interdimensional entities. Images produced by energy vision reportedly showed humanoid figures with elongated limbs, ethereal appearances, and varying levels of translucency. Nems believed these beings existed between worlds and that photographing them could provide evidence for the existence of parallel dimensions. However, after publishing his findings, much of Nems's work was reportedly wiped from the internet, leading some to speculate he may have vanished shortly after sharing his discoveries. While mainstream scientists were skeptical of Nems's claims, his work fits into broader theoretical frameworks like string theory that propose the existence of multiple dimensions beyond our own. The lack of information available about Nems and the disappearance of his research has led some to wonder if his discoveries were seen as too disruptive or dangerous to be widely shared. Neodinosaurs refers to a theory that some dinosaur species may have survived the mass extinction event and continued to evolve in isolated pockets around the world. Proponents of this idea point to reported sightings of large reptilian creatures in remote areas like the Congo Basin and Papua New Guinea. Some cryptozoologists believe these animals could be descendants of dinosaurs that adapted to changing environments over millions of years. The coelacanth, a prehistoric fish, thought extinct for 65 million years until its rediscovery in 1938, is often cited as evidence that ancient species can survive undetected. Alleged neodinosaur sightings often describe creatures resembling known dinosaur species, but with potential adaptations for their current habitats. The Mokele Mbembe, a supposed sauropod-like creature reported in Central Africa, is one of the most well-known examples of a purported neodinosaur. Some researchers argue that vast unexplored regions in dense jungles or deep oceans could potentially harbor undiscovered large animal species. The persistence of dinosaur-like features in modern birds, such as the cassowary's head crest and claws, is sometimes used to support the idea of surviving dinosaur lineages. Neolithic engineering refers to the advanced technological capabilities of ancient societies during the Stone Age period, which some theorists believe were far more sophisticated than traditionally understood. Proponents point to megastructures like Stonehenge and the Karnak stones as evidence of complex knowledge in geometry, physics, and astronomy among Neolithic peoples. The construction techniques used in ancient sites like Çatalhöyük in Turkey suggest a level of urban planning and architecture that challenges conventional views of Neolithic capabilities. Advocates of this theory highlight the development of tools like the plow and pottery wheel as indicators of significant technological innovation during this era. The discovery of sewn plank boats from the Neolithic period in North Ferriby, England, is cited as proof of advanced maritime technology and engineering skills. Supporters argue that the transportation and erection of massive stone slabs for megalithic structures required sophisticated contraptions and mechanical knowledge. Some researchers propose that Neolithic societies possessed a deeper understanding of materials science and structural engineering than previously believed, enabling their monumental constructions. While mainstream archaeology acknowledges Neolithic advancements, Proponents of this theory suggest that our ancestors' capabilities may have been vastly underestimated, potentially rivaling later civilizations in some aspects of engineering. Nephelococcygia refers to the practice of interpreting shapes and forms in clouds, often attributed to having deeper meaning or significance beyond mere pareidolia. Proponents of this concept believe that cloud formations can convey messages, omens, or insights from higher realms or collective consciousness. Some practitioners claim that certain individuals possess a heightened ability to discern and interpret these cloud messages, similar to other forms of divination. Supporters often point to historical and cultural references of cloud reading, such as Native American traditions and ancient Chinese meteorological texts, as evidence of its long-standing significance. Advocates argue that the ever-changing nature of clouds makes them ideal canvases for universal or divine communication, as they are unbound by human manipulation. Some Nephelococcygia enthusiasts maintain logs or photographic records of cloud formations, attempting to correlate them with subsequent events or revelations. Certain believers in this practice suggest that modern pollution and climate change may be affecting the clarity and frequency of cloud messages, adding urgency to their interpretation. Nephilim refers to a race of giants mentioned in ancient texts, particularly the Hebrew Bible, believed by some to be the offspring of angels and humans. Proponents of this concept point to various archaeological discoveries of unusually large human remains as potential evidence for the existence of these beings. Some researchers interpret ancient megalithic structures and unexplained engineering feats as the work of these alleged giant beings. Certain theories link the Nephilim to extraterrestrial visitations, suggesting they were the result of genetic manipulation by advanced alien civilizations. Supporters often cite flood myths from various cultures as accounts of divine judgment against the Nephilim and their corrupt influence on humanity. Some interpretations of ancient Sumerian texts and other Near Eastern mythologies draw parallels between their divine human hybrid beings and the biblical Nephilim. Proponents argue that the widespread occurrence of giant myths across different cultures and continents indicates a shared historical memory of these beings. Nephilim Protocols refers to a set of alleged secret procedures and agreements between governments and extraterrestrial beings, specifically related to the management and concealment of Nephilim presence on Earth. Proponents of this theory claim that these protocols were established to regulate the interactions between humans and Nephilim descendants living among us. Some believers suggest that certain genetic research programs are covert attempts to study and potentially replicate Nephilim DNA. Supporters point to unexplained disappearances and unusual government operations in remote areas as potential evidence of Nephilim-related activities covered by these protocols. The theory often incorporates ideas about underground bases and facilities dedicated to housing or studying Nephilim individuals. Some versions of the Nephilim Protocols concept propose that world leaders are briefed on these agreements upon taking office, explaining sudden shifts in policy or behavior. Advocates sometimes link this idea to ancient texts and artifacts, suggesting that historical records of giants or demigods are actually early documentation of Nephilim presence. Nested sun refers to a theory proposing that our sun is actually a complex, multi-layered structure containing smaller suns within its core. Proponents of this idea suggest that the sun's energy output and stability are maintained by these internal, nested solar bodies. Some supporters point to unexplained solar phenomena, such as coronal mass ejections and sunspots, as potential evidence of internal solar structures interacting. Advocates of the nested sun theory often cite ancient mythologies and religious texts that describe the sun as having multiple layers or components. Certain versions of this concept propose that advanced alien civilizations may have constructed or modified our sun to create this nested structure. Believers sometimes link this theory to ideas about hollow celestial bodies, suggesting that other stars and planets might also have nested internal structures. Some proponents argue that the nested sun could explain certain anomalies in solar observations and provide a new framework for understanding stellar evolution. New chronologies and history denials refer to alternative theories that challenge conventional historical timelines and events, proposing radical revisions to established historical narratives. Proponents of these theories argue that significant portions of recorded history are fabricated, misinterpreted, or deliberately manipulated by academic and political institutions. Some supporters point to inconsistencies in archaeological dating methods and historical records as evidence for their claims of historical inaccuracy. Certain new chronology theories suggest that entire historical periods, such as the Middle Ages, were invented or greatly exaggerated in length. Advocates often cite the work of Russian mathematician Anatoly Fomenko, who proposed a new chronology, compressing much of ancient history into the Middle Ages. Some versions of these theories argue that major historical figures like Genghis Khan or Julius Caesar are composite characters or misinterpretations of other historical events. Proponents sometimes use astronomical calculations and analysis of ancient texts to support their alternative timelines and historical reconstructions. New colors refers to the theory that there are undiscovered colors beyond the visible spectrum that humans could potentially perceive with enhanced sensory capabilities or technological assistance. Proponents of this idea suggest that our current understanding of color is limited by the biological constraints of our eyes and brains. Some researchers point to animals with tetrachromatic vision, such as certain birds and insects, as evidence that a broader range of colors exists in nature. Advocates argue that advancements in neurotechnology or genetic engineering could unlock human ability to see these new colors. Certain theories propose that psychedelic experiences or altered states of consciousness might allow glimpses of these undiscovered hues. Some supporters of this concept cite synesthesia, a neurological condition where senses blend, as a potential gateway to perceiving new colors. Quantum physics theories about additional dimensions are sometimes linked to the possibility of colors existing beyond our current perceptual range. New World Order refers to a conspiracy theory proposing that a secretive power elite is conspiring to establish a totalitarian world government. Proponents believe this group aims to eliminate national sovereignty and replace it with a single globalized authority. Supporters often point to international organizations like the United Nations, World Bank, and International Monetary Fund as potential fronts for this alleged group. Some theorists cite the phrase Novus Ordo Seclorum on the Great Seal of the United States as evidence of long-standing plans for a new world order. Advocates frequently interpret global events, such as economic crises or pandemics, as deliberate actions to destabilize nations and facilitate the implementation of this new system. Certain versions of the theory suggest that powerful families, like the Rothschilds or Rockefellers, are key players in orchestrating this global takeover. Believers often claim that signs and symbols of this impending order are hidden in plain sight, such as in corporate logos or on currency. Nexus 7 refers to an alleged top-secret government program focused on studying and potentially harnessing anomalous electromagnetic phenomena for various purposes, including weather modification and advanced communications. Proponents of this theory claim that the program involves a network of specialized facilities across the globe, each dedicated to different aspects of electromagnetic research. Some believers point to unusual weather patterns and unexplained atmospheric phenomena as potential evidence of Nexus 7 operations. Advocates often cite declassified documents mentioning similar research programs as indirect proof of Nexus 7's existence. Certain versions of the theory suggest that Nexus 7 is involved in reverse engineering extraterrestrial technology related to electromagnetic manipulation. Supporters sometimes link Nexus 7 to reports of electronic device malfunctions and unexplained radio signals in specific geographic areas. Some proponents argue that the program's research extends to human consciousness and its interaction with electromagnetic fields. NHL 320 refers to a conspiracy theory suggesting the existence of a secret rule within the National Hockey League that limits the total number of goals scored in a season to 320 per team. Proponents of this theory claim that the NHL implements this rule to maintain competitive balance and prevent any single team from dominating the league. Supporters point to statistical analyses showing that many teams hover around the 320 goal mark over multiple seasons as evidence for this hidden cap. Some believers argue that referees and league officials subtly influence game outcomes to ensure teams stay close to the 320 goal limit. Advocates of this theory often cite instances of unexpected scoring droughts or sudden offensive outbursts as manipulation to adhere to the alleged rule. Certain versions of the theory suggest that player trades and roster decisions are influenced by the need to maintain this scoring equilibrium across the league. Some proponents claim that the 320 goal limit is tied to television contracts and betting markets, ensuring predictable outcomes for financial benefit. Nibiru refers to a hypothetical planet or brown dwarf believed by some to be part of our solar system, following a highly elliptical orbit that brings it near Earth every few thousand years. Proponents of this theory claim that Nibiru's gravitational influence causes catastrophic events on Earth during its close passes, including pole shifts and global cataclysms. Supporters often point to ancient Sumerian texts and other historical records as evidence for Nibiru's existence and its impact on past civilizations. Some believers interpret unusual celestial observations and cometary activity as signs of Nibiru's approach. Advocates of the Nibiru theory sometimes link it to predictions of Earth changes, including extreme weather patterns and increased seismic activity. Certain versions of this concept suggest that advanced alien civilizations either originate from Nibiru or use it as a base for observing Earth. Some proponents argue that governments and space agencies are aware of Nibiru's existence, but suppress this information to prevent public panic. Ningens refers to cryptozoological entities reported to inhabit the waters around Antarctica, described as large humanoid creatures with pale skin and elongated bodies. Sightings of these beings typically occur in remote, icy waters, with witnesses often being sailors or researchers working in the region. Proponents of Ningens point to sonar readings showing large, unidentified objects moving at unusual speeds beneath the ocean surface as potential evidence. Some believers link Ningens to ancient legends of mere people or aquatic humanoids found in various cultures around the world. Certain theories suggest that Ningens could be an undiscovered species of marine mammal, adapted to the extreme cold of Antarctic waters. Supporters sometimes cite the vast unexplored areas of the ocean, particularly in polar regions, as reason to believe such creatures could exist undetected. Some versions of the Ningen theory propose that they are intelligent beings with their own underwater civilization, avoiding human contact. No forests on flat Earth refers to a fringe theory proposing that what we perceive as forests are actually the remnants of colossal ancient tree stumps on a flat Earth model. Proponents of this idea suggest that modern trees are merely small offshoots or saplings compared to the massive vegetation that once covered the Earth. Supporters point to geological formations like mesas and buttes, claiming they are the petrified remains of enormous tree trunks cut down in a cataclysmic event. Some believers interpret certain mountain ranges as the remnants of ancient root systems, citing their branching patterns and organic-like structures. Advocates of this theory often link it to the idea of a flat Earth, arguing that the true scale of these ancient forests is concealed by the globe model. Certain versions of the concept propose that advanced ancient civilizations possess the technology to harvest these massive trees for unknown purposes. Some proponents claim that coal and oil deposits are not the result of decomposed organic matter, but rather the processed remains of these giant trees. Non-catastrophic world endings refers to theories about how Earth or human civilization could end gradually or peacefully, rather than through sudden disasters. Proponents suggest scenarios like the slow expansion of the sun into a red giant, which would eventually make Earth uninhabitable over millions of years. Some theorists propose a Great Rip scenario where the universe's expansion could eventually tear apart all matter, including Earth, in a non-violent process. The concept of vacuum decay is cited by some as a potential peaceful end, where a more stable state of the universe could silently overtake our current one at the speed of light. Certain versions of this theory involve the idea of a superintelligent AI gradually taking control, fundamentally altering human civilization without destruction. Some supporters point to the potential of self-replicating nanobots slowly consuming all matter on Earth as a non-catastrophic but total end scenario. Advocates sometimes discuss the possibility of a highly adaptive superorganism outcompeting all other life forms, leading to a gradual but complete change in Earth's biosphere. While these scenarios lack the drama of traditional apocalyptic visions, they are often based on extrapolations of current scientific understanding and technological trends.